Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Right, so today we actually have very simple straightforward war. It's against Stella and I have only about 5 fights. It's one of the kind of more lazy wars of the season where I didn't have too much to contribute, but we're gonna get it all done. So Stella is a good alliance. However, going in we knew that we are quite heavily the favorites to win the war, and the results kind of reflected that quite early on. So it wasn't as stressful, as crazy as most of the recent wars have been against like New Nation, Kenobi, GT40, and many other of the top alliances. So in section 1 here I am on path 3, and it's a fairly straightforward path. In section 1 and section 2, to be honest, path 3 is a bit of like a nothing path in my opinion. The nodes hardly matter. Basically there's like a mystic ward that prevents me from nullifying, or well, at least hinders my nullification abilities, but that's about it. I'm bringing in Quake for this war, for this fight, and it's quite straightforward. I am running ouchie masteries at the moment because I'm grinding for Jubilee, and if it was like a very close important war, obviously I would have changed my masteries, but in this case I just kept them as it is. I put on like small set of boosts and activated region boost to offset the damage I take at the start of the fight. And yeah, the fight goes fairly straightforward. You can see that, what, 50 seconds in the fight. Well, yeah, the fight didn't even last 50 seconds against this Annihilus. So very simple, very straightforward work for Quake. Absolutely nothing out of the ordinary. And we can move on to the next fight. And next fight is this aggression armor, enhanced armor up, Black Widow, Deadly Origin. So it's again basically pretty much kind of like a diversity node placement. Everything about it is a rank 3 6-star, but at the same time those nodes literally do nothing, and it's not the hardest fight. Even though Black Widow Clairvoyant is a rank 3 6-star, Quake does have class advantage, and it's gonna be very simple, very straightforward fight. This war, in my head at least, for me personally, was a bit of a blasé war where I really didn't do much, and I didn't get nowhere nearly as much emotionally invested or stressed out as I often do about these wars, because pretty much from the start we had a solid lead. As I said, we were said to be favorites, and that kind of changed your mindset. But that actually kind of almost comes back to bite me in the end, so you guys will have to stay tuned for that. And the very last fight, which actually got a bit dodgy. I just noticed that I haven't removed the stream label there. That's fair enough. But yeah, so I could have taken that Sasquatch, but it was linked at the time, and next time I checked, the Sasquatch was gone. So that pretty much happened like twice in this war as well. So I went from somebody who maybe accidentally now and then on occasion steals some other people's mini boss fights to my fights being taken, but it's all fair game. If you can't take it, you shouldn't be dishing it out, and if you're dishing it out, you need to learn how to take it. And it's fair game there. So I was asked to hold back in this section 2 on path 8 because my teammates wanted that Rich Get Richer link to do the mini boss fight easier. So I was kind of like sticking back on purpose. And the first fight here is Human Torch, and I'm gonna bring in Warlock. I could have very well used Quake for both of these fights, but the reason why I'm using Warlock, once again, is because I do have the Susu Masteries active, and these both nodes on this path number 8 have passive heal block. So I just, again, got a bit lazy, got a bit complacent. I figured I'll just bring in Warlock, should be fine. Turned out that this Human Torch, for instance, has willpower, so I can consistently power drain the guy. I obviously don't particularly want him to throw a special attack, so I play relatively slowly. And there I did make a mistake, but the wave charges from Nick Fury synergy came in handy. Drop level 2, the fight is over. The Nick Fury on the team is pretty much only for the synergy this time, for the Warlock fights. Just to add in a little bit of security, because I knew that I'm going to cover everything that I wanted to cover with Warlock and with Quake. Now next, buff imbalance, weakness, and Rich Get Richer, and again heal block passive. Very straightforward nodes. I am not afraid or a stranger to fighting Storm Pyramid X. I'm very comfortable waiting her level 1. At level 2, I'll be honest, I can't really evade properly, but never push at level 2 and you're good. And yeah, so this fight is gonna go pretty similar to the previous one. I'm just gonna parry quite a bit to make sure she loses significant amount of power. This node does not have a double determination, therefore she isn't gaining as much power either when she gains more debuffs. And slowly but surely, I'm just dropping my heavy attacks, just keeping her under 1 bar of power. Now, in this case, I pushed her past 1, but the fight is nearly over. Again, 40 seconds, super straightforward, super simple, absolutely nothing to worry about there. Pretty much textbook. I have used 1 potion in this war, and I topped up Quake's health just before I started recording Section 2 fights. But that is about it, and I hardly use any boosts, so it's a very light war on items as well here. And I got allocated this Rage Extended Policy Hulkbuster mini-boss. And I have dealt with Hulkbuster on this node on a number of occasions, and I often used Quake, but I pretty much never had the Susu Masteries active. And I knew that the fight is going to take a while because of Rage. Rage also caps out the damage. But I'm going to make 1 silly mistake at the start, and a couple more silly mistakes, and I'm going to be quite sloppy throughout this fight. It's not like I'm going to get hit a lot, but I'm going to miss parries quite a significant amount, and by extension of that, I'm going to end up taking quite a lot of block damage. And I didn't use pretty much any health boost as well, so I didn't want to lose too much health from Suicide Masteries. And this is 100% a prime example of how my own laziness almost gets me in trouble. We can see that I have dropped 2 heavy attacks, so I can't make any more mistakes by letting go heavy attack, or he's gonna get past a bar of power. He already has that Fury active, so he hits harder, and that also means every time he strikes my block, he deals more and more damage. And we can see that even now, a minute in the fight, he's pretty much winning with the health bar fight, and that's a situation you never want to be in. You always want your health bar to be higher than the one of your opponents. And because of that Fury, because that Fury is fairly substantial, and because I'm not running health boost, and because I'm running Suicide Masters, we can see that that hit in the block dealt over 1000 damage. And all of the circumstances combined, me running Suicide Masteries, me not using big boosts, me messing up and giving that Hulkbuster the Fury buff, me playing relatively sloppy and missing some parries, you can see that I have taken a ton of block damage. And obviously the fight being artificially extended due to Rage Node, it's kind of like 5 little things that each on their own wouldn't matter too much. But in this case, we can see that I'm only at 44% health, and it's quite scary, especially knowing that should I happen to fall below 18%, Assassin kicks in, and I'm going to be screwed pretty much immediately. So it was very, very scary point at the very end, where I knew if I make 1 slight mistake, I'm going to be done for. But I didn't. So I wasn't. And so I'm still deathless for the season. Very happy about that. Have only 1 death in last 2 seasons combined pretty much now. And 1 very silly, unnecessary death. I was thinking about stealing that Emma Frost mini-boss, but I got specifically told, and I was being tagged left, right, and center not to do it, because everybody knows that at this point that I like to steal the mini-bosses. It's kind of like a running gag, a running joke in my alliance at this point. But yeah, the war is technically still not over. There is a bit of time left, but it's pretty much all but clear that we have won the war. So that will put us at, what is going to be, this was war number 10, so it's going to put us at 9 wins, 1 loss in a season. We should be fairly comfortable in the 2nd position, which is more than likely where we're going to finish the season out as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today's war. Really not the most exciting or interesting war. I didn't do any crazy hard fights, nearly paid for my own tardiness and laziness and laid back attitude, and this is a good story of that you should not ever take the easy way out, take the lazy way out. And yeah, that is going to be pretty much it for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video, and if you have, a sub to the channel would be absolutely magnificent. That being said, I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about